Hello guys, welcome to the video. So we continue to develop a targeting system for the towers, and now our goal is to select enemy according to the remaining distance it has. The less remaining distance is, the more priority target should have, which will allow us to choose the most advanced enemy on the road we have. Okay, that's what we need to do. So how it's going to be done? Well, actually in a simple way. Let me quickly explain. Maybe I'm gonna give damage of 0 to the tower, so it will not kill enemies, and I'm gonna reduce cooldown to 0.5, just so we have more enemies. Alright, so how it's going to be? Look, at the moment we have 4 enemies in the attack radius, and on the tower itself, we're gonna collect all of the enemies within the attack range, just like we did before over here. Over here, we did collect all of the enemies within the attack range, but before we did check their transforms, right? That's what we did. Now we need to get component of enemy script itself, so we can get that method with a remaining distance, and then we're gonna do for each check for each enemy that we collected. And how it's going to be done? We're gonna make a variable of a minimum remaining distance that's gonna be equals to really big value. Then we're gonna compare that value to remaining distance of each enemy that we collected. And if remaining distance of the enemy is less than original value, then we're gonna update the original value. That's what we're gonna do. It may sound confusing, so let's implement it and you'll see what I mean. So to do that, first of all, we need to change the behavior of enemy detection. And over here, instead of collecting transforms, we need to collect enemies components on the objects we detect. So I'm gonna change this list from transform to enemy. Need to change it here as well. Now we have a list of enemies, and now we cannot fill it up with the transforms just like we did. Now we need to fill it up with enemies component from objects we detected. And it's going to be done in a very simple way. We're going to make enemy local variable with the name new enemy. It's going to be equals to enemy. Maybe let's name it as enemy component. No, it can have different names, so let's just keep it as new enemy. So equals to enemy, get component of the enemy. And then over here, we're gonna add new enemy to the list. So now we have a list of enemy components, and we can easily do something with these components. For example, we can get their remaining distance. Let's go over here and let's make enemy variable. It's gonna be most advanced enemy equals to null, so it's going to be empty at first, and then we're going to make float mean remaining distance, which is going to be equals to float max value at first. Then we're going to run for each check for enemy in possible targets, and this is the list that we filled up with enemies that are around the tower. And then inside of this check, we're going to compare distance, remaining distance of each enemy with this distance over here. This is how it's going to be done. We need to do float remaining distance equals to enemy get what was that? Distance to finish line. Okay, good. And then we're gonna do if remaining distance is less than minimum remaining distance. So we check in this value and compare it with this value over here. So if it's less, then it means we found a new enemy that is more advanced than before. And if that's the case, then we're gonna do minimum remaining distance equals to remaining distance, just so we can update the value and use this check for another enemy to compare. And then we're gonna do most advanced enemy equals to enemy we check in at the moment. So once more, how it's working. We run in for each check for each enemy around the tower. Let's say this is the tower, this is the check, this is the enemies over here, okay? And at first, this value over here is a float maximum value, which is really big. And this tower does check for each enemy it found. So it checks this one. it sees if distance of this enemy is less than minimum remaining distance. And just to remind you, we're checking distance to the finish line, not to the tower. Okay, so it checks enemy. And then if enemy has lower value than this value over here, then it means we found a new enemy that is closer to the finish line. Because of that, it's gonna update minimum value just for another check. And then it's gonna update most advanced enemy over here to tell us that we found the enemy. Here it is. This is the enemy we're going to use. Then for each check, gonna check another enemy. For example, this one over here. And it's gonna see if this distance is bigger than current minimum remaining distance, means we did not find a new enemy because his distance is bigger, and this if check will be ignored. But if, let's say, we check an enemy over here, right, a new enemy over here, then we're gonna check, is this distance is less than this distance over here? Yes, if that's the case, then we're gonna update new minimum remaining distance. We're gonna make it equals to current remaining distance, and then we're gonna update most advanced enemy. I know it may sound very confusing, I understand that. If that doesn't make much sense, you just need to know that we're doing this check to find which enemy is closer to the finish line by comparing his current distance to other distances among all of the enemies we detected, okay? And then we're gonna return most advanced enemy dot transform, like that. And this can be easily removed because we're not targeting a random enemy anymore. All right, now let's save this. Let's go back to Unity and let's check it. All right, now to test this, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna set damage to 0. Then I'll wait till lots of enemies come into the range, and then I'm gonna delete one of the enemies. Okay. So there are 4 enemies in the attack range. I'm gonna delete the most advanced one. And if I'm not mistaken, tower should target this enemy over here. Let's go. And yes, this is the target. Now let's delete this one. Let's unpause. And yes, this is the target now. So now tower chooses the most advanced enemy, just like we need. As experiment, let's try to duplicate the towers. Then I place one tower over here. And let's see how it behaves when one of the enemies is walking out of the attack range over here, and we have new enemy entering area over here. Let me set cooldown to 1, and let's go to play mode. Alright, they're targeting the most advanced enemy. Now, I wonder what will happen when this enemy will enter area of this tower over here. Supposed to work as it's supposed to be, supposed to target the most advanced one. And yes, it switches to most advanced enemy over here. Perfect, this is just what we need. Okay, I like this behavior. Now let's go and clean this up a little bit. I think this all over here can be wrapped into a method. That's what I want to have. So let's do this. Let's do private enemy get most advanced enemy equals, and through parentheses we're going to pass list of targets. So it's going to be list of enemy targets. Then inside we want to take all of this, cut this out, paste it in here. We're going to check targets instead, and we're going to return most advanced enemy.
All right, this is good. Now let's go over here and do something. We're gonna make enemy local variable new target equals to get most advanced enemy from possible targets. Then if new target is not equals to null, we're gonna return new target dot transform. And if that's not the case, then we're gonna return null, just like that. And we don't need to type else here, because if we return, then this one will not work. So it's fine. Okay, let's go and make sure I don't get any errors. Gonna go back to Unity. Let's go to play mode. It's fine, no error messages. Okay, now let's go to the next video, because we need to improve target system a little bit more.